And there were, of course, pictures of all these people on the walls. And just they were actually sitting at those tables. So I do find that so interesting.
Welcome to the Stories Cafe podcast, the espresso version of Stories Cafe, offering quick, enriching moments of reflection on literature, cinema, archetypes, philosophy, and the art of living deliberately. Just like a perfectly crafted espresso at a Parisian cafe, each episode is a brief pause for you to submerge yourself in something invigorating and fulfilling. I'm Annette, course creator, internationally published author, and wanderer at heart. So cozy up as we explore the powerful world of stories, how they shape our lives, and teach us the art of living deliberately.
So I hope you are ready to join me for a little trip to Paris, to the left bank of Paris, to what is called Saint-Germain-des-Prés and Midnight in Paris. Because the thinkers and philosophers and people, artists we're going to be talking about are actually the very same artists that Woody Allen mentions in that film. So here's the quote that we're starting with, and you probably all know what this is from, that Paul and Carol show up unexpectedly at a restaurant where Inez and Gil are dining with Inez's parents. And Paul, who's later called the pedantic gentleman by the guide at the Rodin Museum, Paul says that maybe we could spend time together. And then his wife Carol says, "What are you doing tomorrow?" "We're driving to Versailles." And Inez says, "I'm dying to see Versailles." And Gil says, "Don't we have something tomorrow?" He obviously doesn't want to go. "Don't we have something tomorrow? We're going to have lunch at the Brasserie Lipp. My old professor once actually saw James Joyce there. He said Joyce was eating sauerkraut and frankfurters." And then there's a long pause. And Inez says, "Is that the end of the story?" And he says something along the lines of, "It's not a story as much as an anecdote," or something like that. But the point is that, in my opinion, you can divide the entire population of the world into two categories. One category is like Inez. She has no clue what is the point of this story. And the other group is the people who know exactly what Gil means. Why is it so interesting that his old professor once saw James Joyce at the Brasserie Lipp eating sauerkraut and frankfurters? And the explanation for that story is the whole cultural impact of that iconic area and what that means and what James Joyce was doing there. And the Brasserie Lipp is what explains that story. So that the first time I watched that movie, when he said that, I was like, "Oh my God, is it true?" And then I realized it's not a very interesting story, but in connection with the Saint-Germain-des-Prés area, it is a very fascinating little thing he's saying. But I think the point also is, it's several different things, is that there's a category of people who, if they had their choice in Paris of what they wanted to do, one group would be dying to see Versailles. One group would be dying to go there and see those gilded halls and halls of mirrors and all that fancy stuff. And the other group would prefer to go to the Brasserie Lipp and sit quietly in a corner along with the ambiance of James Joyce and Hemingway and all those other people who were there. So the thing is not just, are you in on the joke? The thing is, which group do you belong to? Would you rather go to Versailles, or would you rather have sauerkraut and frankfurters at Brasserie Lipp thinking about James Joyce? So I just, as I said, whenever you watch Midnight in Paris, you're never going to see that scene the same way again, because definitely you'll be not only in on the joke, but you will definitely side with Gil, as I think we do through most of the film, against the more pedantic, superficial people. So the Brasserie Lipp was founded in 1880 by a man called Leonard Lipp and his wife. And they are known for traditional Alsatian dishes like sauerkraut and frankfurters. They have a lot of other dishes, and I'm told that their chicken is really, really good. But if you ever go there, you may try the sauerkraut and frankfurters in honor of. I don't know if it's actually true that James Joyce used to eat that, but I do know that it is true that he used to come there a lot. It has maintained the classic Brasserie style that it used to have back then. And then it, of course, has pictures of some of these people that we know on the walls, but it has that exact same atmosphere that it had back in the 1920s. It became a sort of a popular meeting spot for intellectuals and writers, and you can feel the history inside, I think, in this whole area so much. Like, for instance, I've sometimes walked into Brasserie Lipp and there was nobody there. And you can and there, of course, pictures of all these people on the walls. And they were actually sitting at those actual tables. So I do find that so interesting.
Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your espresso break and learned something new. If you're eager to dive deeper into the world of stories and ideas, be sure to hit the follow button in Spotify or the plus button in Apple Podcasts so that you get each new episode straight to your podcast app. You can also visit us at Stories Cafe. Just go to stories-cafe.com. There you can explore free content for a taste of what we offer, or if you're ready for more, a paid membership unlocks in-depth discussions, full access to our archives, and a vibrant community of fellow story enthusiasts. I am so thrilled to have you here, and I look forward to welcoming you back to the Stories Cafe soon.